Everybody, this is our weekly show of Mystic Muse Online, a metaphysical chat show. So glad everybody could make it today. We're going to have a live show. This is all spontaneous and depending on people just like yourself to give us comments and questions. I'm David Shepard Love, and welcome.
Welcome everyone. I'm Deborah Christie Love, and a beautiful day here today. I just went out and warmed up. I found the building's not quite as warm as outside, so went and had 5 minutes in the sun. So beautiful temperature here today. I think it's going up to 85 or something like that, and that new energy coming in is really wonderful. Just trying to soak that up as well. Being outside in the sun, I like to get a few minutes a day anyways. Hopefully we'll get some questions, some topics, anything you want to discuss. Just chime in and you can type on our screen and we're happy to answer you. Welcome everyone.
So we already got a few viewers there. Hopefully I do okay today. I'm feeling a little under the weather. I don't know if it's allergies or I kind of think it almost feels like ascension symptoms. A lot of that going around right now, and with the energies blasting our earth right now, the cosmic energies, certainly a possibility for those that are sensitive right now, like myself. We're extra affected by this, so I'm going to tell our listeners to send me love and light today, because I think I could use a little light love blast myself.
Well, we all have our days, you know. There's so many symptoms going around. One of the most common symptoms is the ringing in the ears, and I'm very fortunate. I have not had that one. However, I've had other ones like vertigo off and on, and extreme tiredness, etc., appetite changes. But you know, we all experience them differently, and the emotional roller coaster, all of that. And so many people are just experiencing their own array of things, and so we have to just be patient. And you know, if you need to rest, try to do the best you can with that. We're not, you know, all fortunate enough to be able to rest whenever we want, but just be gentle on yourself and try not to push yourself on those days you're feeling the tiredness, etc.
Well, we do the best we can with that. I think it's always good to keep your meditations up if you do that. Not everybody sits, like me on the sheepskin 5 o'clock in the morning. Maybe your meditation is just getting out in the backyard and enjoying the weather a little bit, enjoying maybe some birds and some grass and some flowers. Just get out in nature, find some quiet time. This is going to help balance you in these times of activity. Oh, let's see somebody wandering around back there. Are they coming in? Okay. Our shop here at Mystic Muse is open right now, Monday, or I should say Tuesday through Saturday. And so we do this live show on Friday at 1 o'clock, so naturally our shop is open, and occasionally we do get a customer in, and all spirit guided, so whatever is perfect will be. And if you see one of us hop up during the show, that's probably because we have a customer waiting for some of our holistic goods over there across the hallway.
It happens occasionally. Yeah, often when you're busy, that's when people will come in, even if it's been quiet. We have these little rushes, you know. We can have a quiet day all day, like yesterday, and then I think we had 4 people come in during the last 45 minutes we were open. So things like that happen all the time here, but it's all good. So yeah, happy to be here. I think it's time for me to shuffle these cards.
Okay, well, while you do that, I want to welcome Ohava. I see her there.
Okay.
And that other picture I recognize as well, that other profile picture. Do you recognize that? And I see your friend Eric actually popped in there for a second as well.
No, I don't have my glasses on, and that's far away.
Well, I guess
a little.
Feel free to, up there, he's He's popped up by the
Hi
screen.
everyone. Glad to see you
Eric
there.
is watching, it says there, and Ohava says hello. So welcome both of you, and glad to see some of our regulars back for our weekly show. This is a spontaneous show, but always geared towards metaphysics and earth changes, and now is going to be our time to get our weekly card reading. So we randomly pick a card out, spirit guided, and this will be our guiding energy. Whoever is watching this is your card for the week. For even if you're watching this in the replays throughout the week, this card will help guide your week, the upcoming weeks. I guess we're on Friday. So, okay, this is from Native Spirit Oracle Cards. By Denise Lynn. We don't think we've used this deck before, so excited to see what Spirit gives us. In this case, Native Spirit. That's our cover. And so what does Spirit have for us today?
Okay. So the beginning of the card, or the back of the card is this, and this is our card for today. And this is just a beautiful picture of nature with even a rainbow in there and the sun. It's called Song of the Wild. So this is a great song, or a great card for this week. I think it's reminding us all to really be ourselves and to get out in nature and do that grounding and realize that we're all connected to that nature. But the wonderful thing with nature is if we study it and look at it, you look at nature, it has its cycles, you look at the animals, and they are so authentically themselves. You know, it's only humans that come along and decide we should change who we are, or how we should act, or how we should look, or these kind of things. And when we see the animals and we see nature, it's so authentically itself, and it does its thing, it has its cycles, it's just happy to be in existence the way it was meant to be. And we all need to take a lesson from that, I think. And so just let yourself be who you are and embrace that connection with the nature and the earth all around us, because we're all connected.
That's it. Short reading today. Putting me on the spot. Okay. Well, I really like the rainbow in this. Rainbowology is my cup of tea for almost 40 years now, ever since my mentor taught with me for thousands of hours over many decades, or a few decades I should say, and introduced the rainbow to me, the rainbow equation, rainbow prophecy, rainbow philosophy, and Fitz Rainbows. I've delved deep into it. Song of the Wild. Yeah, I do agree with you that we need to follow nature, just like we follow the rainbow. When you look at the rainbow, it might appear very, very simple up there in the sky, but when you delve into it, you discover that there are sacred geometric connections. There's connections to prophecy. There's connections to you could call it the salvation of the earth, as the rainbow children are going to be rising up here and showing us adults, quote adults, how it should really be done. So it might appear to be very wild, but in nature there's actually more structure there. The only difference is that nature follows its heart. It doesn't make a lot of decisions on its own. It just goes with the flow. It always knows the right way to go. There's not a lot of questioning or doubts in nature. It's actually extremely connected to source. That's where the word natural comes from. So I would say that this week, as you go throughout your week, start to just go with the flow. Drop the ego, drop the second guessing, just drop it, and just go with the moment that you're in right now. Enjoy that, proceed with a grateful heart, and become just like nature that way. And this is what's going to be guiding your energy through the week, really through your whole lifetime. But give it a practice this week. If you got a lot of strenuous schedules going on, maybe cut it in half and start to spend some more time with yourself. And as you do, you're going to find that your life is going to flow a lot better. Because you're not spending so much time stressing on what's going on. Nature never really stresses about what's going on. It just goes with the flow all the time. So this is your week to go with the flow, just like the Song of the Wild is suggesting.
Yeah, it is a beautiful card. I love how the sun is even at the end of the rainbow here. So the energies coming in are really pushing us to get back to that nature side of ourselves. And as David explained, the nature seems like it's wild, the Song of the Wild, and we have to trust that, and it's like we're throwing caution to the wind, but all those things have a cycle. You know, the moon has a cycle, the earth has a rotation, the precession of the equinoxes, they're all there, and none of that is happenstance, none of that is random. It is all in the perfect plan, and it's talking about trusting that plan, trusting the Song of the Wild, and trusting in the universe to look for you. We humans complicate everything by second guessing it and thinking we can improve upon it, and we really can't. So this is saying get back to those roots and stick with nature, stick with what actually works.
Oh my God, look who just popped up.
Oh wow, hi
Joshua. Welcome, Josh. I haven't seen you here that I remember. Maybe you've been here, but it's been a long time. Really, one of my speaking of mentors, one of my mentors from Barrie, Ontario, and so glad that you're popping up here, getting a little enlightenment from the Mystic Muse online show. Miss you guys a lot, and especially miss your energy and how you've always taken it to the limit in getting connected. I don't know. I just can't say enough good about you. So.
Well, welcome. And I think we have several viewers today, which is amazing.
Yeah.
If anyone has any questions, just on a metaphysical subject of any kind, just type them in for us. We're happy to talk about those today. One thing I did want to talk about today, I was, of course, I like to scan my near-death experience sites, because that's one of my topics, a topic which is throughout my book. And there was someone asking about a loved one that had passed over, and sometimes they do stick around with people for a while, and they're just so connected to that person that they're almost afraid to go and cross over to the other side. And we have to sometimes let them know it's okay to go, sometimes call on angels to help them, and call on loved ones to help them get to the other side. And often they're afraid that they can't connect with you anymore if they cross over, which is not the case. So we have to convince them to cross over and go to the light where they belong, go and be happy there, and they will be, they are free to come back and visit after that transition. And when they do come back at that point, they're in a much better space, they're much happier, and all is good for them. So it's kind of much better for everyone if they do cross over and then just come visit on later on after that. But it is important to move on and not stay attached to this realm that really you should be leaving and moving on to the light, into a new realm, and let the loved ones that you're connected to and attached to here, it's time for them to move on. The person that has passed in your life passed for a reason, and that reason is that for some unknown reason, maybe at the time, it's time for that person to move on and do other things with their life, and it makes it hard for them to do that when a loved one is clinging on that way. So I think if you talk to them and call in their guides and angels and ask for loved ones to come forth to cross them over, it's better for everyone in the long run.
Well, it's sure ain't easy, if you lose somebody close to you, it's going to be a natural tendency to energetically stay attached to them. It's only mystics and psychics, mediums like yourself, that see the benefits of allowing our loved ones to go to the other side, and sometimes it's good just to tell them that. I don't know, you have all the language behind that, but affirm that it's okay, that I guess you could say it's okay that you've died, because I know you're in a better place, and it's better to go towards the light and not hang on to the past. A lot of these people, when you cross over, especially if it was suddenly, you may not even know that you have passed. You just may think you're dreaming or something, and you could be stuck in that astral plane for a long time. So best to do some affirmations for somebody that's passed, if you feel like they need to move towards the light and not get stuck in some kind of a mid-world that people do.
Well, that's it. I mean, their transition is not complete until they've crossed over into the light and, met up with their loved ones and had their, life review, or what lessons they learned from this life, and the connections are still there. There should be no worry that the connections are always still there. Love connects us, and those spirits are welcome to come back and visit, but they really need to complete the transition before that happens, and that just makes it better for everyone involved.
Okay, we're still waiting for our first comment or question from our lovely viewers out there. So if you have any comments at all, trivial as they might sound, even if you'd like a psychic answer to something, we'd be glad to tune in for you. And that's all I can say about that. A constant reminder that this is your show, and we're just the host of your show. Okay, what else we got today?
I'm not sure. Probably time for one of your cards or something.
That's right. I guess so. One of my cards. Somebody said something interesting. It just keeps playing through my mind today. It says, "I'm so glad that you're the rainbow guru," and I don't know. I've never been comfortable with that title. I'm actually rewriting my website, which is called rainbow.guru, and taking my name out of it, the best that I can, and making the character, the whole flow, all about you. So the rainbow is not about a person. The rainbow is not a person. It's just a collection of everything, I guess you would say. So to when somebody says, "Oh, you and your rainbow," well, it is my rainbow, but it's no more my rainbow than everybody's rainbow. So this story right here is about watching new people pop up. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted today. Ascension symptoms. I got an excuse today. Anyway, I'll go ahead and pick a card. This is from my Rainbow Prophecy class from many years ago, and we use it as talking points. Okay, it says, illustrate how the zodiac diagram and the 3D triangle flow perfectly upon the rainbow and the rest of the rainbow equation. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but when we talk about the rainbow equation, it does deal with base linear circular arrangements, both on a three-dimensional and a two-dimensional level. But what a lot of people are not aware of is that there is also a time axis to the rainbow equation, which we call the zodiac, and the 3D triangle. You can actually see the 3D triangle right there over my shoulder there. I thought to turn it that way. I didn't know I was going to get that card. And the time axis is very important. If you go into the Revelation chapter 4, it talks about the four beasts that encircle the throne, going east, west, north, and south. But these four creatures are also reflective of the zodiac. You have the bull there, you have the man, which is Aquarius, and the other two, the eagle, and what's the third one? My brain's not working today. And anyway, it's the four cardinal signs of the the zodiac, and so the zodiac is included in understanding the rainbow equation, and really quite a bit of deep teachings there. I'll go ahead and see if I can find this while I'm rambling on here. This is my book here, The Rainbow Equation, and it actually goes in
Connection.
the rainbow. I told you my brain's not working today. The rainbow connection. Oh, here it is, right here. This is the zodiac. Actually, has illustration of those 4 directions right there, and they are the human, the eagle, the bull, and the lion, and those are actually laid out upon the not only in the Revelation 4 diagram, but also in the zodiac diagram. There's actually a whole chapter on time in this book. These are the 4 beasts, as some people call it. I like to call them the 4 creatures, or the 4 living beings, and they're illustrated in the rainbow equation as well. I'm just looking for the picture of the zodiac in here. I don't know. A little disjunct here. This is what happens, listeners, by the way, if you don't give us questions, we can be a little unfocused here. Well, this is a small picture of it, but this is a picture of the 3D triangle with the white stone in the center. So that's just a quick synopsis of how time does enter into understanding the rainbow equation. We must have experience if we're going to witness the rainbow. It's not enough just to have a rainbow up in the sky or a person down looking upon it. Where the real magic happens is that communication between the two. Some people call this communication the Holy Spirit. It's necessary to have experience on anything that we witness. Really, creation doesn't happen until that movement takes place, that movement of consciousness between the witness, the viewer, and the object itself. And it's that magic that happens in between those two, which is also called the experiential field. And this experiential field is always in the field of time. It takes a certain amount of time to pass to allow the process to unfold, I guess. I mean, maybe that time is a millisecond, but there is a connection in time and unfoldment, if you will. So it's a very important aspect to this time, which doesn't exist over in 5D, but even over there in the 5th dimensional world, they're a little confused about how time works itself, because they do have experience. It appears that it takes a certain amount of sentence or time to maybe say a sentence, or to walk across a room or something, so that there is a time axis there, but at the same time there's no counting of time over there. They don't need to look at the stars and the moon for time to happen. But the experiential field always does happen. We always do have this connection of consciousness in the unfoldment of our experiences. So it all gets very deep, very fast, and what better place to put that in than in the rainbow equation, so we can delve deeply into the nature of time.
It's funny, I saw a question about time today as well. They were trying to understand how, so many near-death experiencers say, time doesn't exist, and they want to know how that, how to explain that. And it is difficult to explain, but if you think about it, we are always in the eternal now. Every experience that we ever have or will have, ever, it takes place in the eternal now. And that experience is unchanging. However, I don't know, I think it was Neil Donald Walsh that explained how time was static almost, and we are the ones moving through time. Time doesn't go by us and move. It's us going through this journey of the time continuum, or so to speak. So, there's different ways to look at it. So time is basically set up so that it allows experience to happen. It allows an individual part of God's consciousness to have an experience. It's also said all experience happens at the exact same time, and the only differentiation is that different parts of the consciousness are experiencing different things. And at some point that all gets put together in time into the memory of the one, because we're all connected, and everything we experience, we're experiencing as God, and those memories come together at some point as the all. So it's a very difficult concept, and it's kind of one of those mysteries that you can sit and ponder here, you can sit and ponder it in 5D, and probably other dimensions above that. So it's just one of those eternal mysteries that is something to experience and not so much try to figure out, I think.
Well, I kind of like trying to figure things out.
Well, that's the fun of it, but
I've spent my time,
are we going to get the definitive answer? Probably not.
I like to think of the, everybody is into this concept, be here now. I think it was Eckhart Tolle that wrote the book called that. And, be now, be present. And I, as amazing as all that is, I'm also aware that in the actual timeline, that we are a combination of our past and the future experiences. And when we look at synchronicities in our life, these synchronicities are coming, and they manifest in the future, or when they manifest, we're actually in the now. But that experience that's manifesting in the now is all being generated by experiences that have happened in the past, whether it be karma or our own thought patterns or our own energetic fields that we put out in a past experience. All of that is something that's going to happen in the future, manifesting in the now. So, in my frame of thinking, that the now concept should include the past of who we are, and also know that this past and the now present moment is manifesting our future. There's never any segregation between those two. It may manifest in the now, but always it's the past energy that is creating that, and or whatever we're doing in the now, and for that matter what we have done in the past is going to determine our future. So it's really hard to put a timeline on, is it now, is it future, or is it past? And in my perspective, it really is a combination of all of those, since time doesn't really exist except in the eternal now, which is ever present in all times. So.
It is, and it's seamless. We don't differentiate between the past now and this now and future now. It's still always now. We always experience the present, but the beauty of the present is we're always at the center. We're always at the crossroad of the two. We're always at choice. How am I going to affect the future? How am I going to react to the past that makes the future? The power is always now. I have to say, I totally was right about that. The power is always in the now, because that's where we are, and nothing can be done except from where we are, and that is always now.
Yep, doing the best we can. What else we got for today? I see our listeners are watching but not participating. I was hoping Joshua would jump in there, my mentor. And but we'll just enjoy watching your name on the screen for now. And if any of you have a comment or a question, that does help guide and direct our show. So we really do appreciate your comments. Seems like on those days the show just flies by when we can get a few comments.
I think it's always flies by pretty quickly, actually. I had another thing today that I wanted to talk about too. Someone was asking about memories of experiences, and some of those experiences were back when they were an infant, and trying to make sense of that. Do people really remember being an infant and things that happen? And some people do. I've read instances where they do. I've had memories come to me of being an infant, and we do normally bury those memories because maybe we're not ready for them. We're not. They don't, affect the present so much. But I think when you're open to it and they do come to you, there's a purpose for it. There's a reason for this to happen, to tell you that there's more experiences out there than maybe what we can believe. I think also in utero, babies' spirits travel, they journey, they have out-of-body experiences, and they are that older spirit. They aren't at that point stuck in an infantile mind that doesn't know anything of their life yet. They do remember choosing the life. They know who's going to be in it. They go visit places and people perhaps that are going to be in their life, and they do all these things out of body while they're in utero. And I think because that's such they're connected to that little infant body that's growing, and that can be quite boring for several months. So, the soul needs experience, and they do wander. And I've done readings before where people have asked about someone who's pregnant and, how's this grandchild going to be for me? And I've literally felt that child's energy there. So I know that they can travel. I've also had memories of traveling before I was born. I remember visiting different places and thinking, am I crazy? Am I losing this? But if you read some of Michael Newton's work, Journey of Soul, of Destiny of Souls, he talks about a lot of these things as well, and people that have been regressed that are talking about the same kind of experiences. So the life of an unborn child is still very vast, and they are that old spirit. They are not just a brand new, they may be just a brand new brain, but they still come in with all of that knowledge and wisdom that is maybe going to be buried for a time in their subconscious, but it's still in there, and their life can be more than what we imagine it to be.
I see Ohava actually has a question for us. She says, I've recently been able to talk to a spirit guide. Can you guide me as to how I can talk to her more? That sounds right up your line there.
Well, I think it's your spirit guide knows pretty much everything about you, and if you call on them, they are always there. At times in your life, you may feel that they have backed away, and that's because they're waiting for you to figure things out. Sometimes the teacher stands back and lets you figure things out, so they may not seem like they're around as much. They're just standing back a little bit and watching. They are always available, and you'll find out that especially in times of need, when it's important that you have some information, or you're upset about something, that's when they will be more readily available. But just pick a time in your day where you maybe meditate regularly or go for a walk regularly, and just kind of make a special time, and that guide will be there and show up at that time, because they will get into your routine with you.
I find that during my meditations that's a good time to connect to your guides. Some people don't need a formal meditation. They can just kind of center themselves and connect. But if you're a little inexperienced with that, the best way is to get in a meditative state and start to focus on this guide. And as you get more comfortable with that, it is very similar to psychic messages. We want to be aware, and but also to accept some of the first words or images that come into our mind. A lot of times we have a tendency of discounting what we hear, and the second that we discount something, or we second guess it or doubt it, then it jumps right back into ego, and we're not connecting to the spirit guide or the psychic message as we could have otherwise. So I suggest to Hava or other people to just go with what comes in. It might seem off the wall, or or strange what you're hearing or seeing, but usually, and if not always, it's that very first impression or words that you get is actual guidance and messages from this guide. So keep the faith up, keep your faith high, and there it is. That's how all these great psychics work. Than you or me. The difference between them is that they just know that their connected, their faith and their lack of doubt is through the roof. So that's where the true connection arises. There's no mystical, magical way. It's just believing that you're connected and you will be connected.
Yes, and your guide will be able to maybe even show you your past lives if you work with them. Often our guide is, in my experience, is usually someone that we know very well from a past life. We have spent maybe one or maybe several lifetimes with them in some loving capacity, a parent, a grandparent, a spouse. So our guides are very connected to us in a loving way, and they can show you and work with you with your past lives if that's something you're interested in. But they will also give you signs. If you ask for a sign, maybe a certain song or to see a certain picture that day, they can make it happen for you. There should be no doubt that they can give you an obvious sign that will be obvious for you.
I see, I think it's your cousin Kathy Kuipers has just popped in. It's actually scrolled up off the screen, but she was here last week, I recall. So nice to see some of our regular viewers back. As somebody's watching the clock, maybe you can get the notifications. I think there's a box when you watch this video. You can click the box and say, get notifications when we go live. So this will keep you, if you're on Facebook regularly, you'll be getting those notifications so that you can tune in every week. We'd love to have you.
I try to put it up on the picture board before the show. I think I'm usually successful at getting that up there.
Well, the best we can. Well, with algorithms and the way Facebook minimizes the connectivity out there, we as viewers and pretty much any social media, we got to get very assertive out there. Don't be shy, because the Facebook type of people are out to reduce communication. So if you want more communication, you really have to go out of your way, click the extra buttons, and send notifications and other things, so that you're in the loop that way.
Yeah, I just was remembering, I wanted to ask Josh if that little baby had arrived yet for them.
I guess if he's still there, I can't tell. We're actually viewing a little mobile phone here during this live show, so we get a little bit of information as the questions fly through. Our guests join us, but we don't know everything. And so, Josh, if you are there, I wonder if your first child has been born. That would be great. If so, congratulations. And if not, congratulations. I'm sure it'll be along soon. So.
Yeah, it's nice to connect with some of these people back in Barrie. I feel like our friends list is just expanding so much because we're meeting so many people here, and yet with Facebook and Messenger, etc., we get to connect still to several people back home, and so we get the best of both worlds here and stay in the sunshine.
Well, still cold back there, and I know Canada's going through quite a time with their borderline martial law rules, so sending you guys love and light. You're one of the more restricted countries in the whole world right now, so hang strong in there. This too shall pass. You got a great community there, a great loving peaceful community, so maybe with all that enlightenment that you guys have, you're being tested a little extra hard by the Illuminati types to see if you're going to maintain your integrity and rise above these latest masking rules. All going to work out in the end. I won't go into too many comments about that, because I know there's mixed feelings on both sides of the aisle there. I'm just glad to see that that some of the borders are opening up around the world, and we're starting to live beyond fear, moving more towards the light.
I think whenever you get down or thinking about it, I think for me, I like to remember, like with our card today, reminding us that nature has this, that the procession of the equinoxes is there, that energy cannot be stopped and will not be stopped. And it's the edge of Aquarius. No matter what people try to do here on Earth to block it, that's not going to happen. It's impossible. It's an impossibility for them to do that. And we just have to remember that this energy is stronger than any oppression that's going on right now. This energy is all about freedom and love and light, and this will change the world. It's taking some time, but it is snowballing, and it's going to just grow ever stronger and brighter. And keep that in mind whenever you get down. Realize that this is a force that can't be stopped.
Okay, what else we got here? I was just thinking about the Cube City. I could go back to my cards, but I think I'm going to try to comment on the Cube City. Many of you, if you've been looking at the rainbow equation very much, you'll notice that the Rubik's Cube is in the center of it. Here's a picture of the Rubik's Cube. Of course, everybody recognizes that, and named after a guy called Professor Erno Rubik, who was a professor back in the 60s. He worked with these sacred geometric shapes. Actually, I think he was a architecture teacher, but he had a great interest in universality and used these modalities to teach his class, including the Rubik's Cube and some of the other shapes. There, you'll find that in the rainbow equation, most of these shapes were developed from him. It was only later that it was discovered that the rainbow could be painted upon them. Well, it's interesting that in Revelation 22, I believe it is, that they talk about a structure that is descending down onto earth. They call this structure God, descending down and being one with his people, to paraphrase it. And that's the energy that we're dealing with right now as the 5D reality starts to manifest here on Earth. Some people would coin the 5D reality as God or Source, and descending down on Earth to be with his people. Well, that's us, and that's our three-dimensional reality. So I just found it very interesting that in the prophecies they actually said that the shape of this thing that was descending down, God descending down to earth, was actually in the form of a cube. So it's interesting that the rainbow equation would be in the very middle of this. I just, sorry, I drew a blank there when I saw Donna Marie. That must be a friend of yours? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, my sister name is Donna Marie, with another last name on it, and so they're like, oh my God, she's extremely Christian. Speaking of the Christian prophecies, the Cube City is a very big part of that, and when we deal with the rainbow equation, the cube is one that's so easy to see, that the different colors painted upon the rainbow. To see the rainbow painted upon the cube. This is a very quick, I don't expect anybody to get too much out of this, but this is a matrix of how the cube is painted on the inside and out, and you'll notice that the rainbow colors do flow on the inside and outside of the Rubik's Cube, and it's also the Cube City of God. So there's a lot of connection. It's nice to think that a cube is not just something that's man-made, but this phenomena exists everywhere. No matter where you're at in dimensionality, anywhere in the universe, there's always going to be a top and a bottom, a left and a right, and a front and a back. So when we're dealing with three-dimensionality, that perspective always exists. And when you take the alignment of the rainbow, painting it on the inside and outside in a perfect matrix, you'll discover that the cube city of God, shall we call it, it actually is a part of the rainbow equation or part of the rainbow prophecy. So again, just like the time that I tried to talk a little bit about the cube city, and the Rubik's cube is a very phenomenal, amazing part of the matrix. That's why it appears in the center of the rainbow matrix as an alignment between the other base geometric shapes that appear in the 6 directions of space. Okay, that's all I'll say about that. So sorry to perplex my listeners, but I just wanted to let you know that there's a tremendous amount of teachings within the rainbow structure itself. It's not like it's just one or two things, not just a simple rainbow up in the sky, but indeed a prophecy, a sacred geometric alignment, a divine alignment that can be connected to all facets of life.
It's true, and that's why the Rainbow Connection book came about, to explain all of those connections between the light language and manifestation itself. And so those are some of the base shapes that are kind of found within everything, within the formation and manifestation of matter itself. And it's very interesting. I think you'll enjoy it. So.
Well, we hope so. I think it's a little deep for about everybody.
But you've explained it well. You've explained it, I think, so most people will get some understanding of what's going on, and I think it is a very important work to have out there. And it's available on Amazon, on Kindle.
It is, and also in the printed version. It's a full-color book, so it can be a little pricey, especially to print, so the price reflects it, but the information, of course, is priceless. And if you've ever wanted to learn about the nuts and bolts of dimensionality, about time, about the rainbow prophecies, this particular book delves very deeply into it. Again, I don't necessarily take a lot of credit for that. I get most of these teachings through my mentor, and really it's just a textbook, if you will, a book of knowledge that teaches. It's not a whole lot to do with the people that wrote it or my mentor who helped develop the rainbow equation. This is all about divine alignment, how nature works, how prophecy works, and all of the divine connections between those.
It's true. It's a really wonderful book. So I wanted to hold up my book as well. There is Love, My Near-Death Experience and Beyond. So this starts out with my near-death experience. When I was 4, I had my tonsils out and kind of hemorrhaged and went to the other side and had an experience there, which seemed like it went on for, I would say, a day or 2 days or something. It was quite a while I spent there, and then I came back and realized, when I was trying to tell my mother about it, well, you didn't go anywhere. You were here the whole time, and of course that made sense as well. So it left me very confused. But years later, when all the pieces came together in my mind and the memories were all there for me, I knew that at some point. And the book is about that experience, but it's also about how that affected my life, because it happened so early on that it affected my entire life. So the puzzle pieces are there for everyone, and my journey is my journey, but it's there to help people figure out their own journey and to help make sense of it, and that we are given the puzzle pieces, and the directions are all within us if we tune into those.
That's good. I keep thinking about this time thing. I remember you told a story in the book and in some of your lectures where you did ask about time on the other side. Do you remember what their responses were to that?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have all the answers, the guides or angels that were with me at the time, but they did say that they lived in what they call God's eternal now. And that was pretty much the answer that covered just about everything. They said, well, we can't explain it all, but we live in God's eternal now. And I thought, well, that for being young at the time, that was the perfect answer at the perfect time for me. And it did make sense, because that is all we do experience is at any time, is that we're always in the present.
Okay, so that's a short answer, but God's eternal now. That might be a good explanation to this future and past phenomena we find ourselves in, but we're always in the now, living the full axes of both of those. So,
and it's true that the experience itself is out of what the time that we have here on Earth, because as I said, I experienced what felt like, at least a day, maybe a day and a half or more, and then came back to have it be exactly, the same day I, had the surgery, and, there was still time left in that day, to be honest. So, that didn't affect the time that happened here on Earth. It was like an experience out of the time that we experienced here. I've had other experiences in my life where that happened, where I really stepped out of time, literally saw the people around me freeze like a movie. And it sounds crazy, like that old show Bewitched, where everybody just froze, and I had some things going on in my mind, and then I came back and everybody slowly went back into animation, and I remember thinking, that is so bizarre. But what I took from that was the lesson that my experience of my reality is my experience of my reality, and no one else experienced themselves stopping or freezing or any of what I experienced. So my version of all of those people was my version, and their version of me is different. Every single person's version of me in their life or in their experience is different from my experience or anyone else's. So we create our own reality, and that reality is different for everyone. They overlap, and every time I explain this, I get the picture of the flower of life in all of those sections that overlap, and that's how it is. We all have our own reality, and then my reality overlaps with yours, which overlaps with someone else's, and that flower of life is built upon that. And that just seems to be how it works. And it's hard to explain, it seems strange, but I think we all really create this experience for ourselves, and no one else can have the experience you have, and you can't have the experience anyone else can have.
I just as you explaining there, I was thinking of how the aliens, how ET travels, the Pleiadians and other places. Well, I mean, if they had to do that through traditional travel, as us Earthlings have limited it, it would take them millions of years, of light years, sometimes. So it would feel like an eternity, and how can anybody do that? But in reality, these spaceships do travel vast distances, often from neighboring stars, which can be tens of thousands or millions of light years away, and they're there in an instant. And the way I believe that they do that is through entering time portals where there is no time in that. Very similar to how the time stopped with you. I think they stop time and move their machines and their devices, even themselves, through these cosmic gateways where time doesn't exist, and in just a few seconds they have traversed the entire distance of the universe. So it can be very miraculous out there. It goes to show that time and distance are just an illusion. If we can enter into these portals and transverse ourselves great distances in just a flash of a moment.
I think the thing to remember is that within the universe, within consciousness, every single thing is possible. If it can be thought, it is possible and does exist in some realm, in some reality. And consciousness is, I think, what we're learning. I think the advancements of our galactic brothers and sisters, they have tapped into this energy and this consciousness at higher levels than we are here in 3D, and they can do these things instantly. I believe that their so-called spacecraft is controlled with their minds and their thoughts. You know, their intention to be somewhere actually puts them somewhere. There really isn't a travel time or a lag time, and these things are all possible because everything's possible. Everything in our mind that can be conceived is possible, and this is the reality that we are moving into, an unlimited, infinite possibility realm where time and distance just are taken care of. We can end up exactly where we wish to be at all times.
Yes, the power of mind and the power of 5D reality. We on Earth are moving into this great cosmic belt right now. It's all part of the Aquarian age. So as this cosmic energy sweeps across this part of the galaxy, we're going to be starting to experience more 5D paranormal events. Our psychic energy will be soaring. We'll soon be able to talk to each other without opening our minds. Things like illness and death are going to be a thing of the past. Speaking of the Cube City revelation, that's exactly what it says in there, a time where tears and death are removed forever. Well, this is all part of the Cube City, as it's called, prophecies descending down to the earth, or God energy, 5D energy, moving into our denser reality, making us all light beings, and in the reality of light, there is no death, there is no decay. That's all part of the field of entropy, where things need to happen that way. But that's also how 5D or 3D reality works. In 5D reality, that things don't decay away. There is no actual time that allows that to happen. There's no decay that happens. So, this is a great time to begin to rejoice here on Earth as we start to move into the paradise that we always were. That's what the Garden of Eden, be it a parable as it likely is, it's also a reality that we're moving into now, and we're in before, where everything regenerates, all is in perfect natural balance, and we continue to move beyond time into the great realization. Somebody here?
Yep.
I saw some people milling around back there. I think our show's actually over in a couple minutes, so we probably want to bring in our credits right now and wrap it up.
Okay. Well, it flew by again today, and I just, for our last message, wanted to remind everybody that amazing power of the universe is within all of us, and that's what we need to focus on. And remember, don't let fear creep in, because you know, realize all the power of the universe is within us. So, again, this is my book, There is Love, My Near-Death Experience and Beyond. This is my CD, Love Will Find a Way. 8 channeled songs that have really nice messages for everyone out there. And I have a blog, which is deborahchristilove.wordpress.com, and you can find that. I believe there's about 13 posts that are up there now, and of course I'll be continuing with that too.
Yep, a great place to stay connected. I know you love to write, along with your many other talents as a musician. You just did a lovely painting over the weekend, and the list goes on and on. Multi-talented, and I guess I don't want to wave my own flag, but now's the time to do that. Love Illuminations. I wrote this when I was in the ashram. Way back in the 80s, a collection of 150 writings.
My favorite book is The Wizard of Oz, written as a children's story, but for children of all ages, because the truth within the fiction is brilliant, and it's a wonderful story too, so find that on Amazon as well.
Good, and we've already had this book up several times today, The Rainbow Connection, subtitle Gen Z and the Universal Language of Light. If you want to hear more about the language knowledge of light on the deepest levels, that this would be a premier book to go to. It is the world's foremost book on rainbowology. If you've ever wanted to delve very deep into the rainbow connection, this book will take you there. Available on Amazon. If you can't remember any of these names, you can maybe just remember our pen names, which is David Shepard Love or Deborah Christie Love, and that will, if you do a Google search on that, that will bring up all the stuff that we do. So I think that concludes our time today. Looks like we're just exactly at an hour today.
Perfect.
Any closing comments?
Just look us up. We're on Facebook. Mystic Muse is our page. Mystic Muse Online is our website. And we'll see you next week.
And speaking of that, I just wanted to put a plug into our store. We're here in the shadow of Sedona in the Verde Valley, Camp Verde at 365 Main Street. Come and visit our metaphysical retail store, and also we do a lot of metaphysical services out of here as well. So we'd love to see the live view in our shop as well. So thank you everybody for joining us. That concludes our show. Join us next week at 1 o'clock, and we'll pick it up where we left off.
Thank you.